Okay, the next part that we're going to look at is perimeter. So all of you know, of course, that that is the length around the outside. And so it is measured in millimetres, centimetres, metres or kilometres. Very easy calculation for a square or a rectangle or a triangle. You simply add up the lengths of the sides. Okay? When it comes to a circle, we are looking at the circumference. And there's two ways of writing the formula, and it's important that you are very clear about what you are using. So if we look at the dimension right across the circle, that is the diameter. Okay, if you are looking at this dimension here, it's the radius. So the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r or pi d. Okay. If we are looking at the length of an arc, so I draw the circle, we have got an arc here, so this area here, we want to know this length here. Alright, we have got an angle here, we'll call it theta. We know that the angle all the way around the circle is 360 degrees, and so the fraction of that arc is expressed as theta divided by 360, and then we multiply that by the circumference. So circumference of the arc equals theta over 360 times by either 2 pi r or pi d. Alright, so you just need to make sure that you've got that written down on your sheet. The next thing that we need to look at is area. So you know that when you're looking at area, you're going to have your units as millimetres squared or centimetres squared, metres squared, kilometres squared, because you are measuring in two directions. Okay, length times width. Alright, so if you've got a rectangle or a square, that is what you're going to be using, length times width in units squared. Okay, if you've got a triangle, if it is a right angle triangle, you use the height and the base. The height is also known as the altitude. So the area of a triangle is half base times height. Okay, the other formula that you have become familiar with is Heron's formula. Whoa, excuse me, that just went a bit crazy then. We might just need another slide for that. Okay, so Heron's formula. is for finding out the area of a triangle that is not right angled. So if I have got sides A, B and C, we need to first of all work out the semi-perimeter, which is half of the, whoops, let me erase that. Half of the perimeter, which equals A plus B plus C divided by 2. Okay, and then the formula for the area is the square root of S multiplied by S minus A multiplied by minus B multiplied by S minus C, all under the square root sign. So just be very careful when you are actually calculating that on your calculator that you make the calculations of this, what is in the bracket, each of those numbers first, multiply them all together and then do the square root afterwards. Okay, that's the last thing that you do. And also don't forget your units will be units squared. Okay, right, and then the next thing we need to worry about is circles, areas of circles. So once again we have the radius and we have the diameter. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, so if you've got the diameter, you need to take the diameter and divide it by 2 to make sure that you are using the radius in that calculation. Then the other issue we have is when we are finding the sector. So that is called a sector when you have that piece of the pie there. And if we have an angle theta and we want to know what the angle of this sector is, our calculation is made by going area equals theta over 360 multiplied by pi r squared. Okay, that covers that pretty well then. The next thing we look at is surface area. And you remember doing the nets. So when you have got a prism of some sort, you can draw a net for it and calculate the surface area by looking at the area of each of those sides. Or you can carefully count them as you go. So we do 2 ends, and then we do 2 sides, and then we do the bottom and the top. Okay, so the surface area, 2 ends plus 2 sides plus 2, well, we'll call them both tops. So you just need to be careful to make sure that you've included each of them as you're working out the surface area. When we are looking at a cylinder of any sort, we need to calculate the area of the ends and then add it on to the area of the piece in the middle. And a way to understand how we do that is, first of all, we look at, so the areas of the top and the bottom, area equals pi r squared. Okay, if we've got this as a height, we need to actually calculate our circumference here. Okay, so that we can work out what the area of that piece is. So we need both our area formula and our circumference formula. Circumference equals 2 pi r. So our surface area is going to be 2 times the area of the circle, 2 times pi r squared, plus the circumference multiplied by the height. So that is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, some of the questions will ask you for just the area of, say, the bottom and the sides, and so in that case you are looking at just doing the surface area equal to pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, because this is that bit and this is the circle at the bottom. Okay, the next thing to look at is the formula for particular tapered shapes, and these are in your book. You should have them fairly clear by now. We have got that the formula for the surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 pi r squared. And if you are looking at the surface area of a cone, we need to know this dimension up the side here. Okay, so that's referred to as S. And that dimension goes into the formula as pi r, where radius is the radius of the bottom circle, S. Alright, so that will give you just the sides. Okay, and then if you want the surface area of the bottom as well, you will know that you have to add on pi r squared. Okay, very straightforward there. And that is all in your book, and I'm sure it's already on your notes sheet ready for the test.